This is the J7D, the top tier premium for China, and let me tell you, this little beast right here is an absolute terror. And even being a Chinese MiG-21, this thing doesn't even fail to impress when it comes to skirmishes with MiG-29s. So what do we really get as a top tier Chinese premium in War Thunder that costs $70? Well, as a starter, we start off with the PL-5B. It has a 30G overload and it can be swapped for the PL-7, and that is a 30G missile. The airframe is a MiG-21 F-13 airframe and the gun is a god-awful 23mm cannon. This plane has a thrust-to-weight ratio of 0.83, and to be honest, it's really not that impressive. When it comes to the gameplay part of things, how does this thing perform? How does it maneuver? And how does it, well, fare compared to the other planes in War Thunder with its special battle rating of 11.0? Well, if you've flown any MiG-21 in War Thunder, you definitely know how fast and maneuverable these planes are. These planes are just marvels, wonders of technology. Even India and other types of, well, other countries in the world uses this plane up till this day, which tells you a lot about the aircraft. The delta wing on it just generates so much maneuverability. However, that comes at a cost, and I will get to that in a little second. The missiles on this aircraft are, well, the recommended missile actually that I would prefer on this aircraft is the PL-8, and other than being a, well, 30G missile, like I discussed, it is so fast. Like, the acceleration on it is insane. It has this burst of energy that just pops out of it, and it just, well, leaves my mind in shambles and boggles. And I would describe it as an AIM-9J that has 30G overload and, well, with an AIM-9G range. So you might be saying right now, hey, why is this silent right now talking about the missile and putting so much emphasis on it? Well, it's literally the only saving grace about this aircraft. You see, this aircraft sits at a BR where it can get up-tiered very easily to see, well, 4th gen jets that, well, we'll rip it to shreds in BVR as an example, in extended dogfights, in every single thing, basically. The MiG-21 BIS as an example sits at the same BR of 11.0 and offers so much more than this aircraft does. As an example, the airframe was totally revamped with better avionics and electronics and a much better engine on it. Another thing is, and the main thing is, the MiG-21 BIS can carry up to 6 R-60M all-aspect missiles, unlike the 4, well, non-full aspect missiles that this plane can carry. In a full offense posture, this plane is best used as a support plane. You don't want to draw a lot of attention to yourself, and since you can bleed a lot of energy with just one turn, it's really advised to just hit and run with this aircraft, save your teammates, and, well, literally play it as a supporting role, a supporting team member for your team, obviously. Other than that, well, unless you're in a 1v1 and you really know what you're doing, this plane is going to be a nightmare to fly. It is still the terror that I talked about. This plane in a good hand, in the hands of a good pilot, is going to be insanely good. But for somebody that's just starting out or doesn't have experience in jets or just wants to go and buys himself, well, a jet for top tier, grinding China and all that, it is going to be an absolute nightmare for that person, and it's really a not friendly type of aircraft to get to grind your stuff with. The skill level is really high for this one, and I am emphasizing that over and over and over and over. And it's not just because of the missiles like I talked about, it's also because of the airframe. In the defensive posture, this thing is going to suffer as you put it into furballs. It's going to bleed all that energy, and you're just going to be a sitting duck for a missile or a gunshot or something like that. And that's what kills me about this aircraft. It has a lot of potential. It is really, really good. And I would classify it up there with the MiG-21 SMT, which is, believe it or not, 10.3. Yes, a Tech 3 vehicle, non-premium, non-nothing. It's at 10.3, and it's literally about the same performance as you'd get with this aircraft. The only thing fancy that you get about this aircraft is a hood that is mounted in the cockpit, and literally that's about it. And War Thunder right here fails to differentiate between reality and game, and how to balance things based on reality versus game. So you have that. Now, some people will be a little bit confused and say, hey, this thing gets 72 flares or 72 countermeasures for the fact, and basically that justifies it being at a 11.0. Or matter of the fact is, a lot of other planes in War Thunder, like I said, the SMT as an example, or the MF, get flares at 11.3, and they, well, just sit there with better missiles, arguably better missiles if you're into maneuverability, than this aircraft itself. Another thing is, this aircraft really doesn't have a lot of ground pounding ordnance or special ground pounding ordnance for it to be of any meaningful thing. To be fairly honest, you only get dumb bombs and rockets, and literally that's about it. The only addition that varies between this and the SMT is going to be, well, the ballistic computer, I think. Other planes like the F5E, as an example, is at 10.7, which is confusing to me because that is literally one of the best dogfighters in the game, rightfully so, and it is extremely dangerous. And well, in an experienced pilot's hand, it can mop the floor with the J7D. So it all falls down to this plane being misbalanced, and injustice. Really, injustice is upon this plane, and it really saddens me because this plane really has a lot of potential, especially for $70. Especially for $70. That's the killing point. So, do I recommend buying it? Well, not now, but if it drops down in BR, 100% go for it. Go for that. Anyway, guys, see you on the next one.